The envelope slipped from Ryan's trembling fingers, fluttering to the attic floor like a dying bird, its faded ink screaming secrets his family had buried for 25 years. "Your father didn't die in that car crash, son," the letter began, in a handwriting Ryan had only seen in old birthday cards, James Harlan's own. "They made me a ghost to hide who I really am." Ryan's knees buckled, the dusty beams of his childhood home pressing down like the weight of every lie his mother had ever whispered. He was 27, back in Elmwood, Ohio, after a decade of running from the small-town ghosts that clung to his skin like cigarette smoke. The house on Maple Street was a relic now, creaking under the autumn wind, its rooms echoing with the absence of the man Ryan had mourned since he was 2. James Harlan, war hero from Nam, devoted husband, pillar of the community, until the accident that left his Ford pickup twisted around an oak tree outside town. That's what Aunt Clara had said, her voice cracking over the phone lines from Cleveland. "A tragedy, Ryan. Drunk driver, they think. Your ma." She couldn't bear it, but Ryan had always felt the hollowness in those words, a void that mirrored the one in his chest when he'd come out to his mother at 18, her silence louder than any rejection. Now, sorting through the attic for the estate sale. Mom gone to cancer 6 months back. The house too big for one queer kid with a graphic design gig in Columbus. He'd unearthed the box, tucked under yellowed issues of Life magazine, labeled James, do not open in his mother's tight cursive. Curiosity had won, and now this, a letter dated 1981, postmarked from San Francisco. "I'm alive, Ryan. But if you ever read this, know they chose to kill me off rather than face the truth. I love you. Always." Ryan's phone buzzed in his pocket, his best friend, Theo, texting from the city. "You okay out there? Don't let the ghosts win." Theo, with his easy laugh and the way he'd held Ryan through that brutal breakup last year, the one that left bruises on more than just his heart. Ryan ignored it, his mind reeling. San Francisco, the city of rainbows and reinvention, where men like him, men like his father, maybe could breathe without apology. He grabbed his keys, the letter clutched like a talisman, and headed west. No plan, just a pull in his gut stronger than fear. The drive across Ohio's flatlands blurred into Indiana's cornfields, then Illinois' endless interstates, Ryan's old Honda Civic humming a lonely tune under the radio static. He stopped in Chicago for gas, the skyline mocking his small-town unraveling, and that's when doubt crept in. What if this was a cruel joke? Some forgery from a grieving widow tying up loose ends? But the handwriting matched. The paper smelled of his father's aftershave, Old Spice, faint but there. By nightfall, he crossed into Iowa, crashing at a roadside motel where the clerk eyed his rainbow keychain with a neutral nod. In the dim light of the room, Ryan scrolled through his phone, searching James Harlan Gay, Ohio 1980s. Nothing but obituaries and high school football clippings. Dead end. Dawn broke over the Mississippi, and Ryan pushed on, the letter's words looping in his head. They chose to kill me off. Who were they? Mom? Aunt Clara? Grandpa Harlan? The stern Baptist deacon who'd preached fire and brimstone from his pulpit? Ryan's own memories were fragments. A strong hand ruffling his toddler hair, a lullaby hummed low and rough. Then nothing. Vanished. He arrived in San Francisco as the fog rolled in like a shroud, the Golden Gate a hazy promise. He checked into a cheap Airbnb in the Castro, the neighborhood alive with rainbow flags snapping in the breeze, men hand in hand under street lamps that glowed like fireflies. That first night, wandering Haight-Ashbury's eclectic shops, Ryan ducked into a used bookstore called The Bent Page, its shelves groaning with queer lit from Stonewall to AIDS memoirs. The bell tinkled behind him, and a voice drawled from the counter, looking for something specific, or just chasing shadows. The man was mid-30s, built like a linebacker gone soft around the edges, with salt and pepper hair cropped close and eyes the color of aged whiskey. He wore a flannel shirt unbuttoned just enough to show a tattoo of intertwined vines. Freedom, maybe, or entanglement. Shadows, Ryan admitted, holding up the letter like a shield. My father's, from 81. I'm trying to find out if he's real. The man, Alex, owner and archivist of Forgotten Stories, leaned in, scanning the page with a nod that said he'd seen the script before. Plenty of ghosts in the Castro. Runaways, reinventions. What's his name? James Harlan. From Elmwood, Ohio. Alex whistled low. Small world gets smaller. I knew a Jimmy H. back in the day, tended bar at the Midnight Sun. Rough trade, but kind eyes. Left town quick after 82. Said something about family business. He paused, sizing Ryan up. You look like him. Same jawline. Ryan's heart stuttered. You think it's him? Think? Nah. But I can dig. Got connections in the old guard. Alex slid a business card across the counter. Alex Rivera, Queer History Tours. Meet me tomorrow at the GLBT History Museum. Noon. Coffee's on me. Ryan nodded, pulse racing as he stepped back into the neon hum of the street. For the first time since the attic, hope flickered, not just for answers, but for something warmer, a spark in Alex's gaze that lingered like the city's perpetual dusk. The museum was a time capsule, walls lined with posters from Pride marches, artifacts from the bathhouse raids. Alex arrived with 2 steaming lattes, his tour guide vest slung over one shoulder like a cape. All right, Harlan, he said, using the name with a grin that crinkled his eyes. Let's see what the archives cough up. They pored over microfiche, yellowed newsletters from the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, grainy photos of leather-clad activists. Then, a hit, a 1981 article in the Bay Area Reporter. Local transplant finds sanctuary, the headline read. Below, a blurry shot of a man in his late 20s, broad-shouldered, smiling tentatively at the camera, James Harlan, unmistakable, arm around a group of friends at a benefit for the nascent AIDS crisis. Fled Heartland bigotry, the caption noted. Rebuilding in the city by the bay. Ryan's breath caught. That's him. God, that's Dad. Alex squeezed his shoulder, the touch electric. Your old man's a survivor. Means you are too. They spent the afternoon walking the Castro, Alex weaving tales of the neighborhood's gritty rebirth, how it went from Irish Catholic enclave to ground zero for gay liberation. Ryan opened up in fragments. His own coming out, the isolation of Elmwood's Bible Belt grip, the ex-boyfriend who'd bailed when things got too real. Alex listened, sharing his own scars, a youth spent dodging stones in East LA, a lover lost to the epidemic in 87. We carry them, Alex said, as they paused at the Rainbow Crosswalk. But we don't let M define the steps forward. By evening, over tacos at a hole-in-the-wall on 18th Street, the air thickened with unspoken possibility. Ryan's hand brushed Alex's across the table, and neither pulled away. Stay a bit, Alex murmured. Let me show you the real city. Ryan did. That night, in Alex's apartment above the bookstore, walls papered in vintage queer pulp covers, they talked until the foghorns wailed. Then, tentative, Ryan leaned in, their kiss tasting of salt and second chances. It was soft at first, exploratory, then hungry, bodies mapping unfamiliar terrain with the reverence of men who'd both known drought. Alex's hands were steady, tracing Ryan's ribs like reading Braille, whispering, "You're safe here." For the first time in years, Ryan believed it. But dawn brought the crash. His phone lit up with a voicemail from Aunt Clara. "Ryan, what the hell are you doing out west? Your mother's will. There's things you don't understand. Come home. Now." The tone was ice, laced with that old familial command. Ryan deleted it, but the seed of doubt took root. What if chasing James unearthed more than just a father? What if it cracked open the family vault? Spilling poisons long sealed? He pushed it down, diving deeper into the search with Alex. They tracked leads to a retired bartender at the Midnight Sun, now a grizzled vet named Mickey who remembered James as the quiet Ohio boy with a laugh like thunder. "He was good people," Mickey rasped over beers at a dive on Folsom. "Dated a artist type for a spell, Evan something. Then poof, gone. Said family needed him, but his eyes. Haunted, Evan." The name stuck like a thorn. Back at the museum, Alex pulled strings, unearthing a obituary from 1985. Evan Lowell, 32. Complications from pneumonia. It's unspoken but implied. Ryan's stomach twisted. Had James lost him? Fled back east in grief? "You're close," Alex said that night, as they lay tangled in sheets that smelled of sage and sandalwood. "But go slow. These truths got teeth." Ryan nodded, but sleep evaded him. In the dark, he traced the vines on Alex's chest, wondering if this fragile thing between them could weather the storm brewing back home. The flight back to Ohio was a reluctant surrender, Ryan's duffel heavy with San Francisco's salt air clinging to his clothes. He'd promised Alex a week, just to handle the estate, sign the papers Aunt Clara kept badgering about. "Text me the ugly," Alex had said at the airport, his kiss fierce under the terminal's fluorescent glare. "And remember, you're not them. You're you." Ryan clung to that as the plane banked over the Rockies, the letter from James burning a hole in his pocket. Elmwood hadn't changed. Same cracked sidewalks, same Confederate echo in the town square statue, same whispers when Ryan walked into the diner on Main for coffee. "Heard you're selling the house?" Millie the waitress said, pouring his mug with a side eye. "About time. Place is cursed since your pa." Ryan forced a smile, but inside, fury simmered. Cursed? They were the curse, rewriting history to fit their narrow god. Aunt Clara was waiting at the house, her Buick parked crooked in the drive, keys jangling like accusations. She was 62, sharp as a switchblade, Mom's older sister and the family's unofficial matriarch since Grandpa's stroke in '95. "Ryan Michael Harlan," she started, before he even crossed the threshold. "What possessed you to go gallivanting to California? Your mother's barely cold." "I found something," he said, voice steady despite the quake in his chest. He held out the letter, watching her face drain of color as she scanned it. "Where did you?" She snatched it, crumpling the edge. "This is nonsense. Forgery. Your father died, Ryan. We buried him. No grave. No body. You told me that yourself." He stepped closer, the living room shrinking around them, the same floral sofa where Mom had sat him down after his first boyfriend, her words soft but slicing. "We love you, but pray on it, son. This ain't natural." Clara's eyes hardened, The way Grandpa's had when he'd caught Ryan with a dog-eared copy of Giovanni's Room at 15. Some things are buried for a reason. Protection. From what? The truth. Ryan's voice rose, echoing off the walls. He was gay, wasn't he? And you all erased him. Silence, thick as tar. Then, a whisper. It wasn't like that, but her hands trembled, betraying the lie. She thrust the letter back. Sign the papers. Sell the house. Move on. He didn't. That night, alone in his old room, posters of Nirvana faded to ghosts. He rifled through Mom's desk, finding a lockbox under the false bottom. Inside photos, yellowed and stacked like sins. James at 25, arm around Mom at their wedding, but his smile strained. Another, him with Grandpa, fishing on the lake, but James's eyes distant. Then, tucked deepest, a Polaroid of James with a man lean, dark-haired, laughing in what looked like a motel room, shirts off, bodies close. On the back, in faded pen, Evan SF81. Don't hate me. Ruth. Ruth. Mom's name. Ryan's throat closed. She knew. All along. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of fog-shrouded streets and Alex's voice calling his name. Morning brought a knock. Theo, driving up from Columbus unannounced. His beat-up Jeep loaded with takeout and that boyish grin. Figured you needed backup, he said, hugging Ryan tight on the porch. Theo was the constant. High school confidant, the one who'd held his hand at Mom's funeral when no one else would. Platonic, mostly, though Ryan had wondered, once or twice, in the haze of grief. They spent the day cataloging the house, Theo's chatter a balm against Clara's shadow. But by afternoon, as they hauled boxes to the garage, Ryan cracked, showing the Polaroid. Theo whistled. Damn. Your dad's a looker. And this Evan. That's the artist Mickey mentioned. Yeah. Died of AIDS. Ryan sank onto a milk crate, the weight crashing. What if James went back for him? Or after? Theo sat beside him, shoulder to shoulder. Then he loved hard. Like you do. His hand lingered on Ryan's knee, a question in the touch. Ryan met his eyes, the air charged, but pulled back. Not now. Not with the past clawing at his heels. Clara returned at dusk. Not alone. Uncle Bill, her husband, hulking and silent, and cousin Derek, the golden boy who'd inherited Grandpa's farm and none of his fire. Family meeting, Clara announced, commandeering the kitchen table like a general. This letter business ends tonight. Ryan stood firm. Tell me about Evan. And why you lied. Bill shifted, uncomfortable, but Clara barreled on. James was troubled. After the war, PTSD, they called it. Met that person in a bar during leave. Thought it was a phase. When you came along, he tried. But he couldn't. Her voice cracked, just a hair. Your grandpa found out. The church board. It would have ruined us. So we helped him go. Told everyone the crash. Clean break. Helped him go. Ryan's laugh was bitter. You declared him dead. Erased him because he loved a man. Derek snorted. Loved? Sounds like weakness. Dad always said James was soft. Soft? Ryan whirled on him. He served in Nam while you were sucking on pacifiers. Fought for this country. Then you all fight to pretend he didn't exist because he fought for himself too. Bill cleared his throat. It was mercy. Boy. For you. For Ruth. Mercy. Ryan slammed the table, photos scattering. I grew up without a father because you couldn't stomach his truth. And now I'm gay. Aunt Clara. Does that make me dead to you too? The room froze. Clara's face crumpled. Not in anger, but something rawer, regret, perhaps. No, she whispered. Never you. But the damage hung, acrid as smoke. They left soon after, papers and signed, the air thick with unspoken fractures. Theo crashed on the couch, but Ryan paced the yard till midnight, stars indifferent overhead. He texted Alex, family imploding. Miss your voice. The reply came swift, call me. Now. Alex's face filled the screen, rumpled from sleep, but his smile steady. Talk to me, Harlan. Ryan did, pouring out the confrontation. The photo, the ache. Alex listened. Then, you're stirring the pot, but that's how you make soup. Come back when you're ready. Doors open. The call ended with I miss yous, and Ryan slept, dreaming of bridges spanning chasms. The next days blurred. Realtor showings, lawyer meetings, but Ryan's real work was excavation. He drove to the old Harlan farm, Grandpa's domain, now Derek's. The barn loomed, red paint peeling like old skin. Derek was there, surprisingly hospitable with a beer in hand. Look, 'cause, he said, leaning on a pitchfork, Clara's old school. But Grandpa, he had his demons. Demons? Ryan probed, sipping slow. Derek hesitated, then found letters once, as a kid. In the attic. Not from James. To him. From some guy in Cleveland. Wartime stuff. Romantic. He shrugged. Burned them. Didn't want the hassle. Ryan's world tilted. Grandpa was? Who knows? Repressed as hell. Preached against it Sunday. Maybe lived it Monday. Derek's laugh was hollow. Family secrets. Man. They rot if you let them. Back home. Ryan Googled obsessively. Gay history Ohio 1960s military. Threads emerged. Whispers of barracks affairs. Discharges under moral clauses. If Grandpa had loved a man, hidden it behind sermons. The irony burned. Was that the decades-old truth? The shock that could topple the Harlan throne? He called Clara. Voice calm. The farm attic. Letters from Cleveland. Grandpa's. Silence. Then a sigh like wind through pines. Burn them, Ryan. For all our sakes. No. He hung up, resolve hardening. But doubt gnawed. Was this betrayal or just survival? And what of James? Did he know? Theo sensed the storm, pulling Ryan to the lake that evening, rods in hand like their boyhood ritual. As the sun dipped, fish uninterested, Theo turned. You've changed. Stronger. But don't lose yourself in this. Ryan met his gaze, the water lapping soft. I won't. But as Theo's hand found his again, warmer this time, Ryan wondered if home was the pull he'd always mistaken for escape. Package arrived 2 days later. Unmarked. Books from Alex. Dog-eared queer classics with notes in the margins. This one's for the fights ahead. Ryan devoured them, feeling the city's pulse in his veins. But Elmwood tightened its grip. A tire slashed outside the house. Anonymous note under the wiper. Stay in your lane. Fairy. Hate. Vintage Harlan style. Clara showed up unannounced. Eyes red-rimmed. Derek told me you asked about the letters. God help us. She sank into a chair, deflating. Your grandpa. He loved once. A soldier. Korea. It broke him when they sent the boy away. Dishonorable, they said. He married Grandma to forget, but the rage poisoned everything. When James came out, it was like reliving it. He forced the lie. For the name, Ryan's anger softened, just a fraction. And you went along? I was young. Scared. Ruth begged me to protect you. Tears tracked her cheeks. But I see now. You're braver than us. The admission cracked something. A tentative bridge. They talked till dark, halting, painful, but real. Clara even hugged him goodbye, whispering, "Find your father. Tell him we're sorry." Emboldened, Ryan booked a flight back west, Theo driving him to the airport with a fist bump that lingered. "Call if you need me," Theo said, eyes holding secrets of their own. Ryan nodded, heart full and fracturing. San Francisco welcomed him with rain-slick streets, Alex waiting at arrivals with an umbrella and that whiskey grin. "Missed you, Shadow Chaser." Their reunion was all heat and relief, bodies colliding in the downpour like they'd never parted. But over dinner at a dimly lit Italian joint in North Beach, Ryan spilled the new layers. Grandpa's ghost, Clara's confession. Alex's brow furrowed. Sounds like cycles. Breaking 'em, that's the real heroism. They made love that night with a new urgency, Ryan tracing Alex's scars as if mapping escape routes. But in the quiet after, doubt whispered, what if James rejected him? What if the truth was uglier than the lie? Morning brought a lead Mickey's old address book, passed via a mutual friend. James Harlan, last known, a quiet suburb in Marin County, working as a landscaper. Keeps to himself, the friend warned. Gruff, but good. Ryan's hands shook as he drove the Golden Gate, fog parting like a curtain. The address was a modest bungalow, garden lush with natives. Manzanita, sage. He parked, heart hammering, and knocked. The door opened, and there he was, James Harlan, 68 but sturdy, silver threading his hair, eyes widening in mirror image shock. "Ryan," the voice was gravel and wonder. "My boy," they stood frozen, decades collapsing in the threshold. Then, arms enveloped, and Ryan broke, sobs racking him as his father held tight, whispering, "I'm here. God, I'm here." The bungalow smelled of fresh earth and chamomile tea, James leading Ryan inside with a hand on his back that trembled like aspen leaves. The living room was spare, a worn leather recliner, bookshelves bowed under field guides and novels, Steinbeck, Baldwin, a dog-eared Middlesex. No photos, but a quilt draped the couch, stitches precise as secrets. "Sit," James said, voice rough from disuse. He busied himself in the kitchen, emerging with mugs and a plate of oatmeal cookies, burnt at the edges, but the gesture maternal in its awkwardness. Ryan sipped, scalding his tongue, the normalcy a fragile shell over the abyss. "You look like your mom," James started, then winced. "Ruth. Beautiful woman. Strong." Ryan's grip tightened on the mug. "She died. Cancer. 6 months ago." James's face crumpled, age etching deeper. "Christ. I'm sorry." He reached across the coffee table, then withdrew. "I should have been there. Why weren't you?" The question burst. "They said you crashed. Dead." "I mourned a ghost." James leaned back, eyes distant, over Ryan's shoulder. to the bay window framing Mount Tamalpay. I did crash. Not fatal. Hit a deer outside town. Totaled the truck. Woke in the hospital. Clara there. Not Ruth. She said. Your grandpa knew. About me and Evan. The church elders sniffing around. Leave. Jimmy, she told me. We'll handle the story. Protect the boy. His laugh was bitter fog. Protect. From what? Loving right? Evan. Ryan pulled the Polaroid from his pocket, sliding it over. James's breath hitched, fingers tracing the image like Braille. God. That weekend in Reno, our first road trip. He painted my portrait, called me his muse. A pause, voice thickening. Then the diagnosis. 86. Kaposi's. I nursed him till the end, here in the city. Buried him in Calma. After. Couldn't go back. Not as the widower. Easier to let the lie stand. Ryan's chest ached. A hollow drum. Grandpa was like you. Letters from Korea. A soldier. James's eyes snapped to his, shock rippling. What? No. He preached against it. Beat the sin out of me with belts and Bible verses when I was 15. Caught kissing Tommy Greer behind the bleachers. Repressed. Maybe. Derek found evidence. Burned it. Ryan watched his father's world tilt. The mirror of his own unraveling. Son of a bitch. James stood, pacing to the window, fists clenched. All those sermons, projection, the hypocrisy. He trailed off, sinking back down. Explains the rage. When he cornered me after the wedding, baby you on the way, he said, don't shame us, boy. Marry her. Be a man. I tried. For Ruth. For you. But the bottle helped forget. Till Evan pulled me out. Ryan leaned forward, bridging the gap. I came out at 18. Mom. She tried. But the family, they treated me like you. Invisible. James's hand found his then, calloused palm enveloping Ryan's knuckles. Proud of you. Braver than your old man. Tears gleamed, unashamed. Tell me about you. Life. Loves. They talked till noon bled into afternoon. Ryan spilling his Columbus days. The design firm where he illustrated queer zines under a pseudonym. The ex who ghosted after Pride. James shared fragments. The landscaping co-op. Community garden plots for AIDS widows. Quiet hookups that never stuck. Evan was it. The real deal. You remind me of him. Eyes that see through bullshit. Hunger pulled them to the kitchen. James whipping up grilled cheese and tomato bisque from cans. The domesticity surreal. Over lunch, Ryan mentioned Alex. The bookstore flirtation blooming into more. He's steady. Knows the history. James nodded, a sly smile cracking. Good. Hold on. Cities full of flings. But roots? Rare. As plates cleared, a knock shattered the bubble. UPS. A box for James from Cleveland. He signed, puzzled, and Ryan glimpsed the return. Harlan Farms. Derek. Open it, Ryan urged, pulse quickening. Inside, ashes in a Ziploc, labeled Attic Cleanse, and a note, 'cause figured you'd want closure. Don't judge the old man too hard. We're all broken. D. James's face darkened, ashes spilling like accusations. Derek knows. Guessed. Told me to burn him too. Ryan hesitated. Clara. She apologized. Said to tell you sorry. James stared at the gray dust. then swept it into the sink, rinsing with a roar of water. Sorry, don't fix it. But maybe it's a start. He turned, ice fierce. You going back? To them? Ryan shrugged. Estates tangled. But yeah. For Mom's sake. Take me. The words hung, bold. Confront the ghosts. Together, Ryan's heart swelled, terror and thrill entwining. You sure? 40 years haunted. Time to exorcise. James clapped his shoulder, the gesture paternal, solid. Besides, wanna meet this Alex. Vet the merchandise. Laughter broke the tension. First real one, echoing like absolution. They flew back next morning. James white-knuckled through turbulence, muttering Navy curses. At Cleveland Hopkins, Theo waited curbside. Ryan's text a Hail Mary. Whoa, Theo said, eyeing James. The legend lives. James chuckled, shaking hands. And you must be the anchor. Ryan speaks highly. Theo flushed, driving them to Elmwood with easy banter, the Ohio hills rolling like forgiveness. At the house, Clara was there, baking pies, a peace offering, apple and pecan steaming on the sill. She froze in the doorway, flour-dusted apron askew, as James stepped from the Jeep. Jimmy, her voice was a ghost's whisper. Then, rush, arms around his neck, sobs muffled in his shirt. Oh God. You're real. The kitchen became confessional. Clara spilling the orchestration, the fake funeral, the whispered payoffs to the coroner for no questions. Your pa, he raged, but relented. For the boy, Grandpa's shadow loomed, his deathbed confession to Clara alone. I loved wrong once. Don't let it curse them. But pride sealed his lips. James listened, face granite. Then, you killed me, sis. But I get it. Fear's a hell of a chain. No absolution, but a gnawed, tentative truce. Derek arrived late, sheepish with beer crates. Heard the dead walked. Handshake with James was awkward, but genuine. Sorry about the ashes. Thought it was kinder. Next time, ask. James grunted, but clapped his back. Bill hovered, silent sentinel, thawing with each round. Ryan watched, an outsider in his own home, as stories unfurled, war yarns, wedding mishaps, Ryan's toddler tantrums. Laughter laced the pain, a bomb. But under it, tension simmered, the unspoken Harlan hypocrisy. Night fell, group thinning. Theo lingered, helping clear bottles, his touch on Ryan's arm electric in the lamplight. This is wild, man. You okay? Better than. Ryan pulled him close, impulsive, lips brushing in the hallway shadow. Theo responded, soft moan, hands framing Ryan's face. It was homecoming, familiar yet new, years of almost igniting. James caught the tail end from the porch, smirking as they sprang apart. Treat him right, kid. Or answer to me. Theo grinned, flushed. Yes, sir. Alone later, Ryan and James sat on the steps, stars pricking the sky. Grandpa's truth, Ryan ventured. Does it change anything? James exhaled smoke from a rare cigarette. Changes everything. Nothing. He was human. Flawed. Like us. A pause. You forgive him? Not yet. But trying. Ryan leaned on his shoulder. The weight shared. Love you, Dad. Love you more. The words hung, mending. But dawn brought betrayal's blade. Ryan's phone buzzed. Anonymous text. Photo of James and Evan. Intimate. Timestamped 81. Caption. Tell the church board? Or we do. Clara burst in soon after. Frantic. Derek's wife Evangeline. She found the Polaroids in my attic. Old ones. She's furious. Says it's scandal. Threatening to go public. Ruin us all. James's face ashen. After all this, Ryan's blood boiled. Derek knew. Clara shook her head. Evie snooped. Thinks it's on me. Panic edged her voice. The farm's leveraged. Church ties. Money over blood, James muttered. Same old song. Ryan grabbed his keys. We face it. Together. The drive to the farm was storm-silent. Rain lashing the windshield. Derek met them on the porch. Evie beside him, arms crossed, Bible clutched like armor. This ends, she spat, waving printouts, blurry scans of the photos. Adultery. Perversion. The board'll strip our tithes. Our standing. James stepped forward, calm as bay water. Those are love, not sin. And I'm no ghost anymore. Evie's eyes widened. You're alive? After the lies. Clara arrived then, breathless. Evie, please. Family. Family don't lie for decades. But doubt flickered, Evie's own brother. Out and estranged. The wound fresh. Ryan spoke, voice steel. You want truth? Grandpa loved a man too. Hidden it, hurt us all. Don't repeat. Evie faltered, photo trembling. I didn't know. Derek pulled her aside. Murmurs low. Minutes stretched. Then nod. We'll burn him. Quiet. Relief crashed. But trust fractured. James clapped Ryan's back. You led that charge. Son. Back home. Exhaustion claimed them. Ryan texted Alex, truths out. Messy. Coming home soon. Reply, proud. Safe flight. But as sleep tugged, Ryan's phone lit again. Theo, we need to talk. About us. The almost kiss. Now promise. Ryan smiled. Possibilities blooming. Yet the Harlan rot lingered. Next morning, over coffee, Clara confessed more. Grandpa's letters, they weren't just romance. Blackmail. That soldier, from a prominent family. Paid to disappear. Your pa found out, confronted him. That's why the rage. James's mug shattered. He used me to bury his own shame. Clara nodded, tears fresh. Feared exposure. Turned it on you. Betrayal's full bloom. Grandfather's sins seeding son's exile. James stormed out. To the lake. Ryan trailing. They skipped stones. Ripples widening. Doesn't excuse, James said finally. But explains. We break the chain. Ryan nodded. Arm around him. We do. The estate signed off that week. House sold to a young couple, queer. Starting fresh. Clara hugged James goodbye at the airport. Promise of visits. Heal, brother. On the flight west. Ryan's head on James's shoulder. He felt the arc bend toward light. San Francisco's sun greeted them. Alex at baggage claim with flowers. The prodigal sons. Hugs all around. James sizing him up approvingly. He'll do. Over dinner at the bookstore, wine flowing. Stories swapped. Ryan watched his father laugh. Free. But later, alone with Alex, the weight spilled. It's layered. Ugly. Alex pulled him close. But you're whole. That's the win. Their lovemaking was tender, anchoring. Ryan whispered plans. Stay in the city. Build with Alex. Bridge east-west with James. Yet a call from Theo shattered the idyll. Evie leaked anyway. Church bulletin. Harlan's sins exposed. Derek's fighting it. But town's talking. Climax loomed. The past's final lash. The bulletin hit like a sucker punch, scanned and shared across Elmwood's Facebook group before Ryan even landed. Prayer vigil for the Harlan family. Repentance from abomination. The header blared. Evie's handiwork. Photos blurred but unmistakable. James and Evan. Mid-embrace. Comments piled like pitchforks. Knew it. Queers runnin' the town. Pray for Ryan too, lost causes. Clara's frantic call came mid-taxi. Derek's livid. Evie's gone to her mama's. Church boards circling. Ryan's jaw clenched. Phone hot against his ear. Let M. We're done hiding. James, beside him in the back seat, took the phone gently. Sis. It's over. Tell him the truth. All of it. Grandpa's included. Pause. Her sobs tinny. Yeah. Love you. He hung up, face etched with old wars. Foolish to think it'd stay buried. Alex, navigating from shotgun, glanced back. Your call, guys. But if it's war, we've got battalions here. The bookstore became command central. James crashing on Alex's couch. Ryan fielding calls from Theo. Towns splitting. Some folks, Millie, even defending you. Others. Ugly. Derek texted coordinates for a confrontation. Church parking lot. Sunday dusk. End this, he wrote. For the farm. For us. Ryan booked flights east again. Alex insisting on coming. Back up, babe. James grumbled but relented. City boys got spine. Ohio autumn had turned brittle. Leaves carpeting the lot like confetti for a funeral. 50 souls gathered as sunset bled orange. Church elders in ill-fitting suits. Neighbors clutching hymnals. Clara pale but resolute beside Derek. Evie absent. Her absence a silent verdict. Pastor Hale, Grandpa's successor, stepped to a makeshift podium, a sawhorse draped in white. Brothers and sisters, we've gathered to mourn the Harlan legacy. Twisted by sin, now laid bare. James Harlan, risen from deception, embodies the devil's deceit. And his son, following suit. Ryan pushed forward. James at his elbow. Alex a step behind. Enough, he called, voice carrying clear. I'm Ryan Harlan. This is my father, James. Alive, unashamed. And we're here to set the record straight. Murmurs rippled. Hale faltered. Boy, this ain't my grandfather. Ryan cut in, holding the crowd. Preached love but lived fear. Loved a man in Korea, buried it with blackmail. Turned that poison on Dad when he did the same. Loved Evan, a good man lost to AIDS. They faked Dad's death to save face. But faces crack. Truth seeps, gasps, crosses clutched. Clara nodded from the fringe. Tears gleaming. Derek stepped up, arm around her. He's right. I burned evidence once. Won't again. Evie's wrong. Scandal's the lie, not the love. Hale sputtered. Slander. Your grandpa was a saint. Human. James interjected. Voice thundersteady. Flawed as me. As you. He faced the crowd, chest broad under his flannel. I served this country, raised a son in hiding. Won't anymore. If that's abomination, indict me. But don't touch my boy. Alex squeezed Ryan's hand. Unseen anchor. A woman, Millie, called from the back. Let him be, Pastor. My brother's gay. Fine man. Nods spread. Tentative. But Hale rallied. Leviticus says. Love says more. Ryan shot back. Heart pounding. Dad loved Evan. I love Alex. Theo, my friend. Loves me. Maybe. Who's hurt? No one. The name drop landed. Theo. Hovering at the edge. Flushed but stood taller. Chaos erupted, shouts. Amends. A chair toppling. Derek herded his kin to the jeep as rain threatened. But Hale cornered Ryan. You'll burn for this. Alex stepped between. Touch him. You burn first. They fled to the diner. Rain sheeting. Adrenaline buzzing. Theo slid into the booth beside Ryan. Thigh pressing close. Bold move. Inspired. James eyed them over pie. A paternal glint. Clara says the board's fracturing. Some elders quitting. Clara joins soon. Soaked but smiling faintly. Evie's coming around. Saw the error. She hugged James. Then Ryan. Proud. All of you. The drive back to the airport was cathartic debrief. Laughs over Hale's bluster. Plans for Christmas, Harlan's reconvened. Queer and queer adjacent. Alex charmed with Castro tales. Theo quiet but intent. His hand finding Ryan's in the dark. San Francisco healed the raw edges. James settled into a rental near the Garden Co-op. Volunteering at the History Museum. Paying forward, he said. Ryan and Alex deepened. Weekend hikes in Muir Woods. Nights scripting graphic novels of queer Ohio ghosts. Theo visited. The four of them, plus James, forming an unlikely pod. Sparks flew one evening over board games. Theo's laugh drawing Ryan's gaze. Alex noticing with a knowing wink. Go on, he murmured later. Heart wants what it wants. Ryan did, pulling Theo onto the fire escape under city stars. Always wondered. Theo admitted. Kiss deepening. Feared ruining us. Won't. Ryan promised. The romance blooming soft. Rooted. But betrayal's echo lingered. Weeks later, a letter arrived for James. Anonymous. Postmarked Elmwood. Clippings of the bulletin. Plus Grandpa's Korea discharge papers. Stamped undesirable. And a note. Knew all along. Kept quiet for the farm. Now you know the full rot. A friend? James's hands shook as he read aloud. Hale. Has to be. Using the past to claw back power. Ryan's fury reignited. We expose him. Not yet. James folded the papers. Leverage. For peace. Clara confirmed via call. Pastor's desperate. Attendance down. Blames you. The climax brewed subtle. A town hall. Hale pushing an anti-degeneracy resolution. Veiled at the Harlans. Ryan flew back. Theo in tow. Alex minding the fort. James and Clara rallied allies. Millie. Derek. Divorce papers filed on Evie. Even Bill. Gruff but present. The hall packed. Air thick with coffee and contempt. Hale droned. Protect our values from infiltration. Ryan rose mid-speech. Papers in hand. Values? Like blackmailing soldiers? Covering murders of character. He projected the discharge. Gasps rising. My grandpa, your saint, dishonorably out for loving a man. Hit it. Hurt generations. That's your legacy? Hale lunged for the projector, but Derek blocked. Sit, preacher. Or I share what I know about your youth trips to Cleveland. The room exploded, accusations, defections. Hale fled, resolution tabled. Outside, rain again, but cleansing. Clara hugged Ryan. You freed us. Theo pulled him aside. Under the awning. That fire. Damn. Kiss then. Rain sweet. Ceiling. Back west. James framed the discharge. Not as shame, but talisman. Humanity's messy, he told Ryan over beers. But love? That's the straight line. Romance wove tighter. Ryan and Theo navigating long distance. Visits laced with Alex's blessing. Throuple whispers, but content in fluidity. James dated cautiously. A widower's grace. A park ranger named Lou. Gentle hands. Yet the shockwave hit deepest in quiet moments. Ryan, sketching at the bookstore, uncovered Grandpa's full story via digitized military archives. The soldier, Elias, court-martialed, suicide after. Grandpa's letters, recovered from a VA cache, pleading forgiveness, and signed. He shared with James, tears shared. He suffered too. Forgiveness, James echoed. The real homecoming. The family mended slow. Clara visiting the city, marveling at pride. Derek starting over. Ally now. Evie, distant, but thawing via grandkids' cards. Ryan's novel took shape. Ghosts of Elmwood, semi-auto. Alex illustrated. Theo beta read. Launch night at the Bent Page. Packed. James toasting. To truths that shock and heal. But the Ark's peak. A road trip. All of them Ryan, Theo, Alex, James to Calma, Evan's grave. Stones laid. Stories told. He'd love this circus. James laughed. Arm around Ryan. As fog rolled in, Ryan felt it. Not end, but becoming. Human, flawed, loved. Winter softened San Francisco's edges. Holiday lights threading the Castro like veins of light. Ryan's apartment, now shared with Theo. Alex a frequent third, hummed with life. Pine scent from the tree. James's cookies cooling on the sill. The novel's buzz grew, pre-orders stacking, but Ryan savored the ordinary. Theo's head on his lap during movie nights, Alex's debates over plot twists, James's gruff check-ins from his Marin bungalow. Clara arrived Christmas Eve, bundled against unseasonal chill, arms laden with Ohio treats, Buckeyes, brittle. For my boys, she said, kissing cheeks, even lingering on Theo's. Derek tagged along, solo now, Evie co-parenting from afar but civil. Town's quieter, he reported over eggnog. Hale's gone. Scandal chased him to Toledo. Folks ask after you. Like heroes. Not heroes, Ryan demurred, passing the bottle. Just done running. James raised a glass. Eyes misty. To ghosts laid. And the living. The toast rippled warmth, but undercurrents stirred. Later, by the tree, Clara pulled Ryan aside. Found something. In your ma's things. She handed an envelope, sealed with Ruth's wax stamp. For you. And James. Trembling, Ryan fetched his father. They sat on the fire escape, city twinkling below, and slid it open. Ruth's handwriting, steady. If you're reading this, I've gone. And you found him. Jimmy, forgive me. I loved you both, but fear blinded. Ryan live loud, for the loves we couldn't. Enclosed, the ring. Evans. He left it for you, in case. Inside, A simple gold band, engraved E and J forever. James slipped it on, tears carving tracks. She knew. Saved it for us. Ryan hugged him, the metal cool against his palm. She loved quiet. We love loud. New Year's brought Revelations coda. A letter from Elias's niece, traced via the novel's publicity, reached James. Uncle spoke of you, in whispers. Said you were his salvation. Cut short. No shame now. Proud. James shared at brunch. Voice thick. Full circle. Theo squeezed Ryan's knee under the table. Your story's rippling. It was. Book signings in Cleveland drew Midwestern queers, tales mirroring the Harlans. Alex's illustrations. Tender, unflinching, earned praise. Theo, visiting from his new counseling gig, networked allies. But romance's depth tested them. Bring. A fight. Theo's jealousy flaring over Alex's easy intimacy. Am I enough? He demanded. Post-argument. Bags half-packed. Ryan pulled him back. Bro. You're the root. Alex the branch. We bend. Don't break. Mediation with James. Dad's wisdom. Love's not zero-sum. Evan's ghost taught me that. They mended. Stronger. Boundaries drawn but open. Summer solstice. They scattered Evan's ashes. Saved portion. From a Marin cliff. James's voice carrying over waves. Free now. Love. Below. Lou waited. His hand in James's new love. Tentative. Ryan's high point. Proposal. Not grand but true. On the Golden Gate. Theo on one knee. Marry me? Mess and all. Ryan yes. Tears saltier than the bay. Alex officiated later. James beaming. Clara walked Ryan down the aisle at City Hall. Derek best man. Vows wove histories. I promise to unearth truths. Hold the broken. Rings exchanged. Evan's band split. Halves for Ryan and Theo. Honeymoon in Big Sur. Cliffs. Cabins. Theo's sketches of their future. Back. Life layered. Ryan's second book. Theo's practice booming. Alex's tours expanding. James and Lou traveled national parks. Queer landmarks. Years blurred. Elmwood faded to visits. Farm sold. Community garden in its stead. Rainbow flags fluttering. Clara aged gracefully, volunteering at a local center. Evie reconciled. Grandkids calling Ryan Uncle Ree. The shock's legacy? Humanizing. 50. Ryan reflected in his study, Theo dozing nearby. Alex's latest zine open, on the hook that started it. Envelope in the attic. Lies crumbling. James passed at 78, peaceful in sleep. Lou at his side. Funeral in the Castro hundreds. Stories of the quiet activist who'd mentored lost boys. Ryan eulogized. He died once to live true. Rose to love fully. Grief wove with joy. Their son. Adopted at 40. James's namesake. Toddling with unabashed glee. In the end, humanistic arc. No tidy bows, but threads of redemption. Betrayals forgiven. Not forgotten. Conflicts catalysts for growth. Romance. Deep as roots. Drama. The forge of souls. Ryan closed the laptop. Story complete. Not 5,000 words, but a life. He kissed Theo's temple. Whispered to the dark. We shocked 'em all. And healed.